What's up, everybody? It's AJ with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out this multi-purpose ball mount with a 2-inch receiver on top of it from Curt. So what this is going to be good for is if you want to haul a trailer and take your bike rack with you at the same time, you don't have to pick or choose what goes in your hitch. You can put this in the hitch here. Your trailer will hook up to the ball that's at the end of this, and then you can still put your accessory, your bike rack up here up top. Let's check it out. This is going to be one of those things where you already have in mind what you want to do with it. So in this instance here, I wanted to bring the bike to the campsite as well, but don't exactly have room in the teardrop camper. We don't exactly have room in the vehicle to store that bike. So I wanted to make double use of the hitch. So this allows me to do just that. With that bike rack in here now, I can bring my bike, even a second one, and still load this up with cargo here and not have to sacrifice that for trying to find some way to strap my bike to it. Now let's talk about some specs for this. So it's going to have a towing capacity of 7,500 pounds. It's going to have a gross tongue weight rating of 750 pounds. Now the ball does not come with it, so you have to buy one separately, and that way you can get the size that works for you and your trailer. Up here at the receiver, now this is going to have a tongue weight rating of 500 pounds. Now keep in mind, if you do go to your campsite, let's say you disconnect your trailer, you're still going to use this kind of to use the bike instead of taking this whole thing off. If you don't have a trailer coupled down here, that's going to half your tongue weight rating up here. So it's not going to be 500 pounds anymore, it'll just be 250. Something else worth mentioning is that this is not made for towing. So if you thought you were going to be able to flip this over, use this for a drop or a rise to tow something else, that is not what this is for. This is only for accessories. The whole assembly is going to be a black powder coat steel, which is going to be really good. That means it's going to resist corrosion. That means you can also leave it in your hitch and the elements aren't going to bother it. It's not going to rust or corrode on you. Now another thing would be it does come with the pin and clip, so that's pretty helpful, so you can use it right away when you get it. Now you might not have the same setup here with the hike trailer as we do, so let's go try it out on a different trailer. A little bit of a heads up, when you are backing up to your trailer, it's going to be helpful to go ahead and have that bike rack removed and out of the way so you can easily access everything to get it hooked up. So like lowering the ball in there and throwing the latch, you're not going to be able to do that with a shank in there or even a raised shank. It's not going to give you a whole lot of room to actually do that. So make sure that's unloaded before you back it up. You can see here the interference I was talking about. You got the latch, it's up in the position. If there's something in this shank, this wouldn't have fit that way. So as we lower it down onto the ball, you can get that latch out of the way. Now you can just throw that latch and add our accessory up top. One thing some people have mentioned is the difficulties of unhooking their trailer while the bike rack's on there. So we have a straight shank hang style bike rack on there right now. This works just fine in combination with the ball, but you'd have to remove this to get your trailer off the ball. So if that's a problem, something you can do is actually get a raised shank bike rack, or if you have a raised shank bike rack. So we're going to go from hang style that I just removed to a platform style bike rack that has a raise in the shank, and you'll see what I mean. Now with this one, it's going to slide into place. We're not going to fully hook it up, but just a closer look at it, you can see all this extra room with the raised shank is going to be enough to pop open that coupler and get it detached. So side by side, I just wanted to show you what it looks like. When we said that the raised shank might help you undo the coupler latch. You can see we're going to need about that much space to get it fully unlatched, and from here on a straight shank, it's going to make contact right there. Now with a raised shank, you might have a little bit more chance to get it to about there to unlatch it to remove the coupler from the ball. Otherwise, you can always just remove the bike rack to unlatch it and get it disconnected. Now we did find if we pulled in at this angle, we were able to get the latch out from underneath the bike, and that way we could throw it up and then it unhooks from the ball. Without removing the bike rack. Now from the top of our 2-inch ball to the bottom of the shank, there's going to be 3 inches of space there. So that's something to look out for when you're trying to figure out if your trailer coupler is going to fit or not. Every setup is going to be a little bit different, but some things to think about. You know, we pulled it out of a parking spot. I'm driving around the parking lot. This is my car, so I'm worried about, you know, something making contact with the boat trailer. Right here is where it would be an issue if we had a second bike on there. You can see the way it's turned here. Just to make this turn around the corner, it would make contact with that second bike. The fact we only have one bike on there keeps it out of the way. So just keep that in mind with what bike rack you want to use with this. If you have a 4-bike bike rack, it's probably not going to work out so much, but it really depends on your trailer and the length of your tongue too. So just keep this stuff in mind. If Now you can kind of see how it's oriented. Like, I don't have an extreme turn on this, it's just a slight turn, but that is something I was worried about, so I'm glad I could see that I still had a little bit more room, but it was coming close. Now if I had a cargo carrier or something like that in there, that might stick out a little bit more, but then you have to worry about how high you stack the cargo. So you'd only be able to stack to about right here, because you don't want this running into anything you put in that bag. Some things to help you out if you do have this issue is you can get a different bike rack with maybe a shorter shank so it doesn't stick out as far, or even if there's any accessories here at the front of your trailer that get in the way. Like if you had a toolbox, you wouldn't be able to use this setup. It would be in the way. If you had propane tanks on a different kind of trailer, that might be in the way too. You can maybe move those. You could also, if your jack is in the way, you can move that a little bit back on your trailer too. I'm going to make a slight turn just to show you the maybe clearance issues, but you can see it's just fine. Just comes a little close until we straighten it back out again. We went ahead and hooked it up to a different trailer. So this is our hike trailer here. It's got a longer tongue and there's not the jack to get in the way. You can see we have far more of an aggressive turn, even with the bike in the second bike position. So if we had two bikes on here, it wouldn't even come close to making contact. You could even put stuff on your carrier up front and still it would not make contact. After putting this on and a few different combinations, I would say the most thing you'd have to worry about when you're ordering this or looking at it is clearance and how much space you actually have. Everybody's rigs and vehicles are different, so look at that tongue length, look at what accessories are around there at the base of the trailer, like the propane tanks I had mentioned, or a toolbox might come in contact if you're adding or looking to use this accessory. If you do have that A-frame trailer with a bunch of accessories up front and you still want to be able to take your bike rack with you, I recommend the Lippert jacket. It's going to attach to the tongue of your trailer and then bring the bike rack up here. So then it's up and above all your accessories and you don't have to worry about any of those clearance issues. Overall, I did like this. It really solved that problem of either taking the trailer or the bike rack, or just didn't have space for the bike. So usually leave the bike behind because there's nowhere to put it. Now the bike can go with, and whatever campsite, if they have a trail or something I want to ride on, can jump on there and ride around that trail and don't have to worry about, like, man, wish I had my bike. So I like it. It solves that problem. It worked out for this setup, and I hope it works out for yours too. Well, I think that does it. Thanks for hanging out.